Hi there, it's Richard McMahon here from CareerVids, and in this next video, I will teach you how to answer the interview question, how do you motivate your team? So if you have an interview coming up, make sure you stay tuned because I will help you to be successful. Now, in addition to teaching you how to answer the question, how do you motivate your team, I will also give you example answers to the following questions as well. The next one is, how would you deal with conflict within a team? Tell me about a time when you dealt with an underperforming member of a team. And also tell me about a difficult team you had to manage. So I will give you tips for answering these correctly and also example answers. Now, before I give you the example answers to use when answering these 4 tough interview questions, here are 3 really important tips whenever you need to answer any type of teamwork interview question. Tip number 1. In your answers to these teamwork interview questions, talk about how you focused on the team objectives and the end goal. That's really important. Never lose sight of your objectives and the team end goal. Tip number 2, show you have a thorough understanding of what it takes to manage and motivate a team. And I will teach you what it takes within the answers that are coming very soon. And tip number 3, in your answers, demonstrate you are a determined, a resolute, and a resourceful employee. So, let's have a look at the answers. Let's first of all tackle the question, how do you motivate your team? Here's a couple of tips. Make sure you have a set number of things that you do to motivate any team, because this shows you are an organized person. Tip number 2, don't forget to talk about getting to know your team members in your answer. Because if you know your team members, it is therefore much easier to motivate them. And then tip number 3, one of the most important things to do whenever you are motivating any team is to praise your staff when appropriate. One of the main causes of demotivation amongst team members is them not feeling appreciated or valued. So you have to praise your staff whenever they do something that is good. So let's now take a look at a sample answer to the difficult teamwork interview question, how do you motivate your team? Here we go. I motivate a team by always doing the following 5 things. Number 1, I will sit down with all team members and I will find out their strengths, their weaknesses, and their career aspirations. Because if you take the time to find out about your team and you get to know them, this empowers you to make better choices that ultimately lead to higher team motivational levels. Number 2, I will set individual and collective team goals. If team members know what they are doing and what is expected of them, they will feel focused and motivated. Number 3, I will always communicate with my team in a concise, honest, open and passionate manner. Because if team members feel they can speak to you and they believe in the direction the team is heading, they will feel motivated. Number 4, I will provide the right training and support for my team members. If they have the skills to do their work correctly, they will feel good about the tasks and the projects they are working on. Finally, I will always praise my team and provide words of encouragement along the way, because if you show you are grateful for a team's output and for what they are achieving, this helps to increase trust and motivation levels. That is a brilliant answer to that first teamwork interview question. How do you motivate your team? Let's now take a look at the next question. How would you deal with conflict within a team? So this is a difficult question to answer, but here's 2 tips before I give you the model answer. Tip number 1, do not let team conflict fester. You should deal with it straight away. It's really important, and that's a strong sign that you are an effective leader and manager. Tip number 2, always encourage team members to resolve the conflict themselves first of all, and explain to them how important an effective and fully functioning team is to the financial and commercial goals of the organisation. So here's a really strong answer to this difficult interview question. How would you deal with conflict within a team? Here we go. I would always deal with team conflict straight away, because if you don't, it can develop into something more serious. Now, to deal with any form of team conflict, I will first ascertain what is causing it to happen. And to achieve this, I will speak directly to the team members who are experiencing the conflict, and I will encourage them to try and resolve it swiftly and amicably. Now, in my experience, just by letting team members know you are aware of the conflict is usually enough to force them to act. I will then monitor the situation closely, and if the conflict doesn't get resolved, I will step in and sort it out myself. Now, at all times, it is important that we as a team focus on the team goals and where the organisation wants to be from a commercial and financial perspective. That's a confident and positive answer that shows you can deal with conflict within a team quickly and effectively. Let's now take a look at the next answer. Tell me about a time when you dealt with an underperforming member of a team. Again, this is a really difficult interview question to answer. But tip number 1, when dealing with any type of team underperformance, make sure you find out what the root cause is. Do not jump to conclusions. Tip number 2, when dealing with the underperformance, be firm but also supportive. Here's how to answer this difficult interview question. Tell me about a time when you dealt with an underperforming member of a team. Here we go. I started working in a previous organisation and I noticed a long-serving member of the team was making lots of mistakes. He also appeared disinterested during team meetings. Now, I called him in to speak about the underperformance with a view to resolving it as soon as possible. So I started off by asking him what the reason was for his underperformance and the general lack of motivation. And I gave him a few examples of times where I had concern in respect of his performance. Now, he told me that he'd been with the team for a long period of time and that he didn't feel motivated or challenged in his work anymore. Now, I explained to him that this was no excuse and that we all had a responsibility to carry out our duties to the highest standards possible. I then asked him numerous questions about what motivated him and what tasks he actually enjoyed doing. And I then gave him a difficult and challenging project to work on that had elements contained within it that he would enjoy. And I told him to report to me on a weekly basis with a project update. Now, over the next few weeks, his performance improved significantly. And moving forward, I always gave him tasks and projects to complete that utilised his skills and his experiences. That is a really, really good answer that shows that you are not afraid to deal with underperformance. You try and establish the root cause of it, and then you take appropriate action to sort it out quickly. Let's now take a look at the next question. Tell me about a difficult team you had to manage. Tip number 1. Managing teams can be challenging at times, especially if there are 1 or 2 members who make your job difficult. But in your answer, demonstrate you have the confidence and the tools needed to deal with a difficult team. Now, tip number 2, when dealing with a difficult team, communication is really important. Make sure you set boundaries, set objectives, and never lose sight of your goal. Here's a really good answer to that question. Tell me about a difficult team you had to manage. Here we go. A couple of years ago, I started managing a team of people who'd had the same manager for a long period of time. I'd been given a brief by the company owner to change things within the team, and so I started implementing new systems and processes that were designed to help us achieve our objectives. Now, fairly early on during the transition stage, a couple of senior team members made it quite clear they did not support the changes. Some of the work they were doing was not to the standard I would expect, so I decided to take action. Now, I sat down with all team members and I explained how I fully understood how difficult it was having a new manager come into the team with new ideas, but that we all had a responsibility to carry out our work to the expected standards. I went on to explain how change was actually a good thing and that given time, they would enjoy the new systems and processes we were implementing. Now, although things were tough for a while, by maintaining strong lines of communication and by motivating and encouraging the team through the transition period, I was able to eventually achieve my objective and implement the company owner's vision. It's another really good answer that shows that you can deal with a difficult team and you can turn them around to achieve your end goal. Now, the next thing to do is click that link at the top of the video and head over to my next video here on YouTube, which is my mock interview questions and answers. I actually go through a full interview for you in live format and I answer 12 questions on the spot and I land the job. So it's a perfect example of how to carry out a job interview. Make sure you click that link and check that video out. Finally, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We have about 500,000 subscribers now, and lots of you, and I mean lots of you, are passing your job interviews after using the videos and the resources that I'm providing you with. So make sure you subscribe. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to. I've put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. And it's always great to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. And finally, please give the video a like, because that motivates me to create more content for you. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best for passing your interview. Have a brilliant day.